life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This nation was founded on the idea of a government rooted in equality and guided by the general will. Life was described as unalienable, yet today, life is something that can be measured, evaluated, sentenced, and taken.
All men are entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so those lines inspired generations of Americans to pursue those ideals and to challenge the United States for not living up to those ideals.
The Declaration of Independence identifies life as an unalienable right, meaning it cannot be taken or transferred. This raises the concern of whether capital punishment aligns with a justice system designed to protect life. Death penalty sentences have been on the rise since 1953, with a recent decrease in numbers due to exonerations, restrictions, and declined public support. However, the numbers are still higher now by over 2,000 prisoners.
In that same 50-year time period, there have been slightly more than 200 exonerations from death row. So when you put those numbers together, 1,600 and 200, for every 8 people we execute, there is one person that we admit, oh, so sorry, we got that one wrong.
Wrongful convictions are often caused by human error. More than half of wrongful convictions are caused by misleading eyewitness testimony and false confessions. Unreliable informants and flawed forensic evidence have also played major roles in sending innocent people to execution.
Sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole in a maximum security prison is an extraordinarily severe sentence. It really is a death penalty. You do die in prison. You don't ever get out again. So there are very severe punishment that we have available. The advantage of that is that if it turns out you made a mistake, at least the person is still alive.
When people think about the death penalty, what they think about is the mass murderer or, the sadist. They think about Ted Bundy. But that's not the bread and butter for the death penalty.
But if you find that the death penalty falls disproportionately on a particular race, then that is cause for concern because it suggests that you don't have equal justice.
Those who criticize the death penalty say it is more than injustice. It is imbalanced. The death penalty falls unfairly on certain minorities. This problem is one of the biggest we are facing. Because capital punishment is final, even a single mistake carries irreversible consequences.
Race, which influences the death penalty tremendously. Death penalty is much more likely to be imposed in cases in which the victims are white. More likely to be imposed in cases in which the defendants, the people accused, are black, and much, much more likely when you have a combination of a white victim and a black defendant. The death penalty is more often imposed on poor people. Very often, the lawyers don't do a very good job in representing them.
When the Central Park five innocent black kids, he continued to push for making sure that they got the death penalty. None of them were guilty of the crimes they were suggested.
In Louisiana, there were over 13,000 black men murdered in the first 40 years, from 1976 to 2016. Around 13,000 black men murdered. How many people have been executed in Louisiana for killing a black man? 3.
Data also reveals racial disparities in wrongful convictions. Black Americans make up the majority of known exonerations since 1993, which raises concerns about bias throughout the justice system.
Public opinions on the death penalty has declined from nearly 80% in the 1990s to around 55% today. Support peaked in the late 20th century, but recently, opposition has steadily grown. Today, fewer Americans support the capital punishment.
One of those men, Marcellus Williams, was executed in the state of Missouri in September. His case drew more than 1 million, about 1.5 million signatures from the general public trying to support a bid for clemency, which ultimately failed.
The biggest problem with the death penalty is that there are still politicians and still prosecutors who think that this is more popular policy than it is.
As a prosecutor, I supported the death penalty. As a researcher, my position, and I became more aware of how the death penalty works and what the problems are, my position first shifted to, okay, well, I don't support it as it currently is, but I think we should fix it. Over time, I came to realize it will not be fixed. It cannot be fixed.
As executions continue, we must decide whether our laws reflect fear and vengeance or our founding values. The Declaration of Independence promised unalienable rights for every person. But when the punishment becomes irreversible, it leaves us with one final question. Can killing ever bring our nation true justice?